Hi, in this video I will show how you can use Microsoft Azure to deploy a web application. So in this example I have created a simple web application in Visual Studio. It has 3 ASPX pages and it communicates with a database. So let's open our database. So the database is stored on my computer on a local SQL Server database. So I have created a database called the book database, and I have inserted some tables. I have a view and also have a stored procedure, 3 stored procedure. So I have these tables and this view and these 3 stored procedures. And I have created an SQL script that insert all these tables, the view, and these 3 stored procedures. So let's run our application locally. Just click on this run button. And then the web application appears in my default browser. So in this application I just have a list of books, and this list of books comes from the database, and then I can add new book, or I can click on one of the existing book and edit it, or I can delete a book. So all this information is stored in the database. And the database connection is stored in my local web config file. So here I have this connection string for my local database, where I have the server name, my SA user, the password for the SA user, etc. So I use this connection string in my code in order to connect to the local database. So the thing I want to do in this video is to first create a database. So I want to create this database in the cloud using Microsoft Azure. So I want to use Azure to create this this database and these tables, etc. in Azure. And then next I want to deploy my web application into the Azure as well. So let's open Azure. So here I have the Microsoft Azure web portal. You find it in this location, portal.azure.com. And then the first thing I want to do is to create a database. And then I just find here in the menu on the left side, SQL databases. Then I already have some databases, but I want to create a new one. And then just click add. And then I need to enter a database name. I can call it bookdb. And my subscription, I need to have a resource group. You can either use an existing one or create a new one. And also have a source. I just select a blank database. And next I want to or need to configure a server. So I just click on this one. And then I will, in this example, I will just create a new server. So enter the server name. I can just call it book server or something, but it has to be unique. So this, if it's not unique, you get this error message. So you need to make sure the server name is unique. And then book server Halvorsen .database.windows.net will be the name of the server. Then next you need to enter a login name and a password. So when you have entered the server name, your administrator password, and your administrator login, and the location, just select a location in this list. Then you can click select. And the server has been created, and then you need to create the database. Just click the create button. And then deployment in progress. So it takes some time in order to make everything ready. So now the database in Azure is successfully created. So you can just click on these all resources, and then I will find my database server here and my database here. I can just click on it. And the next thing I need to do is to make sure this database has access, to make sure I have access to this database from my local computer. So now I want to go to my local SQL Server Management Studio in order to connect to this database. So then I need to go to Set Server Firewall. I need to find my IP address, and then just enter it here in the firewall settings, and enter a rule name. Just local PC or something, and my IP address, and just so when I have entered my IP address, I can just on the rule name, I just click save. And now I should be able to connect to this database that is located in Microsoft Azure in the cloud from my local SQL server. So then I just disconnect like this and try to connect. And then I need to enter the server name. I find the server name in here in my database, and then I find the server name here. I can just click copy here and just enter this server name. So my server name is book server, etc. And then I have this user I've created and the password. Like this, and then I can just click connect. And as you see, now I have been connected to the database I've just created in Microsoft Azure. Then I can just go to databases. And also find my bookDB database here. But for now, the database is empty, so there are no tables, no views, no stored procedures, etc. So then I can just click New Query, and then open my SQL script. I just click Open, and then select my script. So in my script, I have my tables, my view, and my stored procedures. And then I can just click execute. Yeah, first I put it in a wrong database, so I need to select my database here. So bookDB. and then just run the script. And then everything seems to be successfully inserted. So then I can just double click, I can go to tables and click refresh. And then I find my tables here. I can go to view, and then here's my view. And here, stored procedures. I find my 3 stored procedures. 1 stored procedure for create book, 1 for update book, and 1 for delete book. So now I'm ready with my database. I have created the database and I inserted tables, views, and stored procedures, etc. And then I can go to Visual Studio in order to try to connect to this database from my local Visual Studio. So then I have my project in Visual Studio. I just select web config and then just make the necessary changes to the connection string. I can just do it manually, or I can go to my Azure portal, click on my database here, so I find my book DB here, and then show database connection string. I can either just copy it or I can click on it, and then I have my connection string here, which I can just copy, and then copy this connection string into my web config file, and then just change the user ID and the password. Or I can just do it manually as well. So I can just change the server name here to my server. So I can do it in 2 ways. I can just manually enter the data source or the server name, and then the name of the database, my username, and use the password. Or I can just copy the connection string from the Microsoft Azure portal, and then I just need to change the username and the password. And when I have done that, I can just save my web config file, and then I can just run the application one more. And you see, my application works perfect. Now I'm running my web page locally inside Visual Studio using the built-in web server that comes with Visual Studio, and it connects to the database I have just created in Azure. So everything seems to work perfectly. Next, now I want to deploy my web application to Azure as well. In order to do that, I go back to the Microsoft Azure portal, and then I want to create or configure the web server that is inside Azure. So then, in order to do that, I just click on App Services, and then just click Add to create a new App Services. And then in the list here, I find Web App. Just click on this one. And then I got this information, and just click Create. And then next I need to enter a name or a URL for my application. I could just call it book example or something. And then you see this name is already taken, so I need to find a unique name for my application. So book example Halvorsen or something. And yeah, so this is not taken already, so I can use this name. So the URL for my web page will be bookexample.azurewebsite.net. And then I just need to finish here and just click Create. And and the deployment of this web application is in progress. And then the deployment was successfully, and I can just go to all my resources. So here I have my database server, and here I have my database, and here I have my app service, and in this app service I want to deploy my web application. So then I can just click on it, and then you can deploy your web application in different ways, but in this example I will just click Get Publish Profile in order to download all these settings. So I can just save the file, just save it on my computer like this. So this is the file I want to save. Just click Save like this, and then I can open Visual Studio. So then I can, in my project, just right click on the project and select Publish. And then here under Profile I can just select, you have different options you can select among, but in this case I would just want to import this configuration file. So I just select Import, and this Publish Profile file, which I just downloaded, just find it on my hard drive. Here, and just click OK. So I just select my the file I just downloaded and just click OK. Yes, and then all the information I need is by default filled out, and then I can just click Next, and then finally just click Publish, and then the deployment starts, and then I just need to wait a few seconds, and then automatically it goes to the web page. But there is one more thing I need to configure. So I just go to the Azure website and click on my web application here, go to application settings, and then go down to default documents, and in my example my default document is index.aspx. So then I can just delete all the existing one, just go through the list and delete them. Like this, and just enter my default web page, which is index.aspx. So then I just enter index.aspx like this, and just click enter, and then click save. And then this index.aspx is in the default documents here, and then I can go back to my web page, book example halvorsen.azurewebsites.net, and just click refresh. And then you see my web page is up and running, and I'm running my web application from my web server in Microsoft Azure, and then also the database is located in Azure. So everything works perfectly. I can try to change some of the information like this, and it changes. So now I have deployed my database and my web application to Microsoft Azure successfully. So let's summarize. There are 3 things you need to create. You need to create an SQL server, and then within that server you need to create an SQL database, and then you need to create an app service that is the host for your web application, and then on your database you need to set your set access in the firewall settings, so you are able to connect to the database from your local management studio, and in that way you can connect to the database and create tables, views, store procedures, etc. And the next thing you need to worry about is this default document. So you go to application settings and you go to default documents. You delete all the existing default documents, and then you enter your default document, which you have here in Visual Studio. Your startup file can needs to be in the root folder, but the name can be whatever you decide, but you need to enter this name in the default documents here. And then when all these things are set up, you can just enter the URL for your web application, and everything should work perfectly. So this is how we use Microsoft Azure to deploy your database and your web application. So good luck with Microsoft Azure.